Right, my neighbor's house is getting re-roofed? It's getting a new roof. And the roofers haven't shown up yet, so hopefully I have enough time to tell you about this. The first thing I want to say is bra fitting is not an exact science. There is not a one perfect way to take a measurement or one perfect way to design a bra. That's why there's so many different cup styles. It's a thing that you just have to allow yourself some patience to do. Understand that you're going to go through a little bit of material, although we're going to talk about how to be as economical as possible. And just be patient with the process. First, let me show you, this is the pattern that I'm going to be making. It's the Ruby, it's a Beverly Johnson pattern. You would have seen me unbox this with my bra supply haul. If you haven't seen that, I will link it below. I'm sorry, I'm not stopping for traffic today because I do not feel confident about getting this done before the roofers show up. So there just might be a little bit of noise. I'm sorry. So this is a 4-part cup. Bra patterns, I mean, there can be a one-part cup that has pleats in it, and it can kind of go up from there. When you have more parts, you have more places where you can take in, which I know for me is going to be really important. So anytime I am sewing a garment, I want to be as economical as possible. I want to be economical with my time, I want to be economical with my materials, and therefore I will be economical with my dollars. Typically, my first step is I'm going to measure myself and I'm going to measure my pattern. And that will show me any major glaring problems that are going to come up. Bras, it's really hard to do that because if you've never sewn a bra, so this 4-piece pattern, this is what the pattern pieces look like. And when they go together, you kind of sew them, curving them as you sew them together. So it's difficult because it's not in the shape of your body when it's laying flat, right? That's Sadie. She's a 17-year-old Bichon Frise, living her best life, making the most noise. So what can we do instead? Well, there are different ways that you can take a measurement. I went over some of the measurements in that bra video that I linked below, but Beverly Johnson does her measurements differently. So she measures from the apex, to where the underwire is going to be. And then that gives you your bottom cup depth. And then everything is based off of your bottom cup depth. So, and it's important to know that when I say apex, I'm not necessarily talking nipple. For some people, I mean, nipples point all different ways. The apex is wherever your breast comes out the furthest. For some people, that might be a little bit higher than their nipple if they have more fullness above the nipple. So make sure that that's what you're looking at for your apex. I mean, your nipple could be anywhere around there. It's wherever it comes out the furthest from the rest of your body. So from that bottom cup depth measurement, these patterns will tell you what the ready-to-wear sizes are that typically fit that cup depth. And then it will also tell you the 2 or 3 different underwire sizes that will fit in there. The reason there's 3 different underwire sizes is because they're different shapes, but they will all be the same length. So they will tell you which ones will fit for that bra. So taking my measurements, taking the measurements of the pattern, not super helpful here. What information can we use other than the bottom cup depth? Well, if it is a pattern that takes an underwire, remember in that video I showed you guys the wire charts that you can print off. There's several different websites that sell bra supplies. I think any decent bra supply website probably has these. It allows you to take a piece of wire, take one of these, and you can actually see if that's going to fit you width-wise. Do remember though that underwires have underwire spring. So let's say I've traced it out and that, let's pretend, okay? Let's use our imaginations. This is the underwire I'm gonna use. Do remember that when this is put on your body, because it's a negative ease garment and it stretches, there is spring. So it's not an exact thing to fit a practice wire made of something else until it's in the garment. Because again, bra fitting is not an exact science. You do as much as you can ahead of time to try and pick the right size. So for me, I know that I have a very wide frame. If I go shopping in ready-to-wear bras, and if I'm not going to like a place that specializes in bras, what I'm gonna find is I'm gonna find bras that work for the width of my frame. And then I'm gonna have like tons of space. Like I could carry around a few oranges probably and be like, there's just room in there. So what I need is I need the frame of a larger chest, but then I need to take out some of the fabric from the cup. And so I did, just because, you know, it's like following a new recipe. Follow the recipe the way it's written the first time, and then I'll change things up. So just to see, I did take my my bottom cup depth measurement, and I made the cup for that. And this is part of the process of how I keep this economical. I'm not gonna take that measurement and make the whole bra and see if it fits, and then tweak from there. I'm just gonna make one cup. And I'm gonna make sure I try this on whatever side is my larger side. You didn't think you were the only one who's lopsided, right? No. Mother Nature doesn't care about symmetry. You're not alone. We all have it. And so for me, if I show you, now the bra that I'm wearing today it's one that's been fit to me really well, and you can see, I mean, it's not, if I line it up where the cup should start here, I mean, look at how much space. Like, it's not gonna work for me. That said, this method of measuring will work for most people. It absolutely will. But this is how you test to see if it's gonna work for you, is you just sew one cup. And if you can sew it out of foam, even if you're not gonna make a foam bra, the stability of this will help. The other thing that is helpful is if you do happen to have one bra that fits you fairly well, when you are doing test cups, you can make your test cup and you can pin it to that bra frame so you can actually put it on and see if it's gonna fit you properly. Starting with just making one cup, I actually took this bra that fits me really well, that does have an underwire, and I compared that underwire to the chart, and I found what underwire this one is. Then I went to the pattern and I picked out the size of bra that went with that underwire. I fully know at this point that the cup's gonna be too big on me, but I don't care. I need that frame to fit me first. All right, so due to a total camera failure, I am missing a shot of my first go at altering this bra cup. So the important thing to know right now is this top piece of the bra cup, I have taken a triangle of fabric out of there and angled it differently in order to get a shape that I needed. I needed to take out a lot of fabric, and if I just would have like darted it or something like that, I would have ended up with a corner in my boob, which, although, I mean, it would be a statement, it's not really the look I'm going for. So just know when you see like this weird piece that is like this wonky little triangle, I will explain that later when I do all my adjustments on my pattern pieces. So clarification is coming on that. I made that adjustment and then I went and fit the cup on me. So as you can see, I still have this pinned to my ready-to-wear bra that fits me really well. I've got it pinned all around the bottom edge, at the strap, and at the inside corner. So I'm just gonna remove that from my bra frame because I know that this is fitting me really well now. So there's a couple different ways that we can make these adjustments to our pattern. One is you can simply measure out what you've marked out there and then mark it on the pattern. This is a great way to go if you wanna keep that as a tester cup. Say if you want to start making bras professionally, or you want to be able to do bras for family and friends, then you can just mark the size that's on that cup and keep it intact, and that can be your practice cup for doing other people. And so you would just carry on taking measurements all the way along and transferring those measurements to your pattern piece. And these are copied pieces, by the way. And then you can make those adjustments on your pattern pieces, mark whoever's name it is that the bra is for, if it's for yourself or if you're making it for somebody else. And then there is their pattern pieces, and you know you can just go back to those pattern pieces every time. Once I'm done making my markings, I go and just true up my lines. Any straight lines, I use a ruler and just make everything tidy. The other way that you can make these adjustments to your pattern pieces is actually you wind up sacrificing the bra cup that you've made. But I do find it is a bit more accurate. So I go through and I'm just marking with some chalk where I've put my pins to take out that excess fabric. And then I'm just going to take out my pins and I'm actually going to cut those pieces apart, and I'm going to cut on that chalk line. Now, because this is the foam layer, this actually makes for a pretty easy process to cut everything apart. I am going to cut apart all of my sewn seams as well, and I just have to cut down the middle of the seam and it'll be fine. I'm just seeing how close I was when I used my ruler to make all those adjustments, and there are a couple spots where I'm going to clean things up. Now you can see that little triangle piece that I had, you can see where that came out of and how it would have just been really weird to make a dart or something. Like it just needed to have that triangle pivoted. And don't worry, I'm going to go back and fix that so that I don't have like this weird rando like triangle piece that doesn't make any sense. We're going to fix that. All right, so I've laid out and I've retrimmed my pattern pieces so that they match the pieces that I have dismantled from the bra cup. Now, that little weird triangle, we're gonna deal with that right now. So where before this was in that top piece, I'm actually going to include it on the bottom cup piece that it's next to. This will keep me in a 4-piece cup, so everything will look nice design-wise, and yeah, it'll all still be pretty. And you'll never know that that was a change that I've made in the design. And there we go. Those 2 pieces are now one. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to make my other cup so that I can continue on my mock-up process. And that'll give me an opportunity to test out that other pattern piece. Okay, so here I've got 2 pieces. You can see this is the one that had the wonky triangle, and the other one I adjusted that pattern piece and it all went together perfectly well. So now that I'm confident that those pattern pieces are what I need them to be, I'm going to make sure that I go and mark my name on them. And the other thing I need to do is I need to transfer all the changes I made on my foam cut pieces to my fabric cut pieces. So I am lining up the edge of my foam cut piece, and I'm just matching up my pattern lines, and you can see like there's obviously a big difference between these pieces. So I need to go and make sure that I have essentially the same pattern piece but with seam allowance on the interior seams. For your foam pieces, you don't have seam allowance on the interior seams, which is why you need separate pieces for your foam pieces as your fabric pieces. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to make my fabric pieces so that when I get to that step, even though I'm not doing the fabric for the mock-up, I know that everything will be just fine. Now you can see I've copied the line for my adjusted pattern piece, and I'm just adding that 1/4 inch of seam allowance on. Then I'll cut it out. Do remember when you're making these adjustments that any markings that you're going to wind up cutting off, make sure you move those to the part of the pattern that you will be retaining so that you're not losing any information. So in these patterns, I have to make sure that I move the alphabetized matching points so that I don't lose them. And you can see on this piece, which is the one where we put that extra little triangle, I'm just drawing outside the lines to get the shape that I need. Now that we have both cups done, I'm going to go ahead and test out the bra frame. Basically what I'm looking for with this is, are my cups the right distance apart, and do they need to have a different angle to them? Now I did wind up just going ahead and putting the frame and the band on, and this fabric that I'm using is just stuff I had in my stash, and I looked for stuff that had similar stretch value to it. And so it really is just kind of using what I have without having to ruin any of my nice fabric or cut into anything that I'm not sure if that's the shape it's going to need to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and do any elastics or notions that I feel like I really need to do to get a good sense of the fit. One thing I want to mention with my practice garment is I didn't cut almost any of my elastic because probably I'm going to use this for another practice garment later. I don't want to cut anything exactly to size. The exception is my straps I cut exactly in half. And then I just have them pinned to check the size. I don't have the sliders or anything on it because really I just need it to be held onto my body. So I don't want to mess up what I bought for making practice garments and not be able to use it for another practice garment. This is part of my economical sewing. So this set of notions is just for doing practice bras, okay? So it's gonna look a little funny when I put it on. One other thing some of you may know from previous bra videos, I work with junior high school kids, and so me going on the YouTubes in nothing but a bra, not the best career choice. Also just would make things weird if my kids saw the video. So I'm gonna have to try on my bra with this fitted tank top underneath. It's just the way it is. It's how we're gonna have to do it, okay? Let's be cool with it. All right, so here's my practice garment. As you can see, I have things hanging off of me everywhere because that's just how we're doing this. Now, for all over fit, I am on the tightest part of my band, which I should not be starting out there. I should have to have this on the more outside edge of the hook and eyes. And then as time goes on, as I wear the bra more, as the elastic starts to relax a little bit, then I should go in. So this is telling me that I need to actually have my band a little bit shorter. That's not something I feel like I need to re-sew. I'm just gonna cut myself a smaller size on my finished garment and that'll be fine. Now, as for the cup, I was intending on making this without underwires because you have the option with this bra, but I feel like the bra style, like I just really want to have that right next to my rib cage, which it just doesn't happen without underwires unless you have a really like plungy cut. So I am going to put underwires in this, but I have to order them. So we're not going to see that today. But even with that, what I am seeing is I've got a little bit of extra space up here. I went and put my fold over elastic on this one to see if it would help that, and it did a bit. But I think I just need to pull like a teeny tiny bit out of the top of the cup, and I'll switch my camera so that you can see how I'm going to do that on my pattern piece. But other than that, I feel like I have a really good fit, and I've only had to sew this garment once. Okay, I did one extra cup just to see the size that they told me I should sew, but even when I get underwires in here, they're not going to be digging in. This is the wide frame that I need to have for my body. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. This is how I do my mock-ups. And I'm excited because now I get to use the pretty fabric and make a real bra. All right, so here is the piece that I'm going to make the adjustments to, just on that top edge. I don't want to change anything where my other bra cups are going to attach. So I'm going to take a look at where I've pinned the bra cup here. And it's about 1/4 of an inch deep, which means that it's a 1/2 inch that I want to take out over the length of the entire piece. So I'm going to do 4 different release cuts, and I can pivot each one of these so that I will take out that 1/2 inch over the whole length of that pattern piece, not just in one spot, because that if I take it all in one spot, it's actually going to change the shape of it quite a bit. So each one of these release cuts, I am just overlapping at the top edge by 1/8 of an inch. So by the time it gets down to the bottom of the piece, there's no change at all. So I don't have to worry about, is this going to line up with my other cut pieces or anything like that? It's still going to go together just fine. It's just that that top edge is going to be a little bit more snug. And then I'm going to go and I will copy this onto the fabric layer of pattern pieces. So yeah, I think I am probably going to make a Watson down the road because I do prefer bras without underwires. This bra I'm going to put an underwire in because there are times that I do wear them. So it's not going to be like a waste by any means to put an underwire in this bra, but it doesn't mean I have to order them because I didn't bother ordering the underwires because I was like, no worries, don't want them. So I'm going to order that underwire and then I will make the actual bra. Yeah, but today's video was about the mock-up. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that you saw my process in how you cannot have to build the entire bra every time you do a mock-up. You can fit each individual piece and just save yourself a little bit of headache, a little bit of heartache, and yeah, that's my process. So I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you next time. Oh, subscribe below if you haven't already. Please subscribe.